All right, welcome back, everybody. We are on the Monday, November 25th, briefing of the Mason County Commission. We're going to move right into public health with Dave Windom. Good morning, Dave.
I don't think there's any Dave here today.
Good morning, Ian. Are you running
Uh,
the show?
I'm doing well. Good morning, commissioners. I've got a quick one. I think I'm first. I've got a quick one for you, which is the Mason County Clean Water District Advisory Committee. We have an application for renewal for membership from Terry King.
Well, if I can, commissioners, I don't know about the rest of you, but this is about as no-brainer as one I've ever seen. I'm good with just appointing everybody else.
I am as well.
Yep, I believe it's a reappointment, so perfect.
She's incredible, doing it longer than I've ever been involved. You know, Ian, I worked with her to help clean up parts of the sound when I was a port commissioner, uh, you know, 20 years ago.
Wow.
15 years. So, what do you got? What else you got?
That's all I've got, but we have something from Melissa.
Good morning, Melissa.
Good
You're up.
morning, commissioners. I've got another kind of quick and easy one. This is a contract. Actually, I'll back up a little bit. As grantees with Consolidated Homeless Grant from Commerce, we are required to coordinate with our local dispute resolution center. And the purpose of that is just another pathway for negotiation and mitigation of any disputes between landlords and tenants. The purpose, again, is to keep people housed, prevent as many evictions as possible. Our contracts with our subcontractors do include this as a requirement, but we haven't really seen evidence that they're really utilizing this as a tool. So we have dollars that are already budgeted out of our emergency housing fund. So we'd like to contract directly with the Dispute Resolution Center for these services, as well as some additional services that include training for the public, things like tenant rights, renter certification, conflict resolution, and facilitation. The purpose of those is really to kind of build up our workforce and give them tools so that they can do some of that work on their own later. And so we would like to move this to the December 3rd action agenda for approval.
Commissioners, you comfortable with all that? One, two, you got all three.
Thank you.
Is that everything for you, Melissa?
That is the only item I had.
All right, commissioners, do you have anything for this department?
Not for me.
Okay, thank you guys very much. Next up, I have community development. Kell. Are you on here, Kell? Yep.
It should just be me this morning, if you can hear
Boy,
me.
we're batting 1,000 here. Okay, well, welcome, Luke.
Morning,
what you got?
Morning. I've got 3 different items from the Historic Preservation Commission. I will try and keep it as brief as I can. Some of them have been a fair amount of work, so I'll just let you fill in the gaps if you have questions on it. To start off, the Mason County Historic Preservation Commission is asking the Board of County Commissioners, or I should say recommending approval for the Camp Robbinswald property to be added to Mason County's list of historic registered properties. So back on October the 28th, the Girl Scouts of Western Washington made application to place Camp Robbinswald property on the Mason County Historic Register. That property is up about 1 mile to 2 miles from the Mason County Jefferson border on US 101. They've got 3 parcels on the whole property and numerous structures, but their application identified 4 specific structures that had significantly, or I should say, significant contributing elements. Mason County Historic Preservation Commission held a public hearing on November 14th during their regular meeting, and the Preservation Commission ultimately found that the property meets 4 different historic criteria, kind of loosely based on the significance of the materials, the structure, the role that the camp has had in Mason County's history, and then as well as a stonemason from the Skokomish tribe that was the mason for one of the fireplaces there. So there has not been a property added to Mason County's historic register in about 7 years. So I figured I had to do just a little reminder. Mason County Code 17.40.050 Section B4 states that if the Historic Preservation Commission finds that a nominated property is eligible for the Historic Register, the Historic Preservation Commission then shall make recommendation to Mason County's Board of Commissioners that the property be listed on the county's own register. So the recommendation is approval. To actually get on the Historic Register, you only need, or a property only needs to meet 2 of the criteria. This property met 4. And just to comment on how much work the Camp Robbinswald and Girl Scouts of Western Washington team did in aggregating all of the documentation. They submitted, great historic photos. They had narratives to go with it about, when there was updates or renovations needed to the structures, how they continued to maintain the historic significance, whether it was putting every single log back in the exact way it originally was, or continuing to use cedar shake shingles for their roofs. They've just done a tremendous job in putting together this application in a really short amount of time. In terms of public outreach that was done, all the necessary steps in the Open Public Meetings Act were followed. 4 different tribes were notified. The property was posted. Public notice went out in the journal. Ultimately, the commission, or the Historic Preservation Commission, is asking for Board of County Commissioners to adopt and certify this property on the Historic Register. Attached is a condensed application, and I apologize about some of the photos I see in that briefing. They didn't come through all the way. If you really needed to see more photos, I could share my screen or send it to you afterwards. And the other attachment is the actual register approval form, which I can get the physical form to Mackenzie or somebody else for you folks to sign as well. I believe just the chair needs to sign it. With that, do you folks have any questions?
Yeah, Luke, what is the benefit that they reap from doing it?
So in terms of historic registries, you've got 3 different ones, right? It's federal, state, and local. At the federal and state level is more where you see incentives for like grant funding, but the local level is where the actual protections are for the historic properties. In this case, those protections kind of come in the form of an allowance. Their structures, a few of their structures are in a FEMA floodplain, and specifically the most restrictive FEMA floodplain, floodplain VE. They had roof leaks on 3 of their structures, so they came and submitted for building permits. And then because they were in the floodplain, those repairs on the roofs could not actually be done. And that's because variances would have needed to be applied for, and the Department of Ecology wouldn't have been supportive of those variances. Actually getting them on the historic register allows them an avenue to get those building permits because they're maintaining the historic significance of that structure. And they've been, more than amenable to making sure that the materials are like for like. They will be using cedar shake shingles, same which are currently on the structure and have been for the last 60, 80 years now, actually.
Great explanation. I'm supportive. Commissioner Trask.
I think it's great, and I do know that it's definitely a benefit for them because they'll be able to apply for more grants and things as well as if they're on the historic preservation.
Yep. As a nonprofit, then the Girl Scouts of Western Washington could also apply to grants to the Mason County Historic Preservation Commission that we have every year as well.
So you're supportive, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
And Commissioner Schutte.
Yeah, I'm supportive as well, and I think we might have a couple of people from the Girl Scouts on here today. Just want to thank them for their work with Luke and our staff to get this across, in front of us to take action on. And it's a fantastic little spot, and so I think it's great to preserve it and gives them opportunities to continue to preserve it well into the future. So well done by everybody.
Yeah, I would agree. So you have 3 that says, let's do this. You got anything else for us, Luke?
Not on that item. If you want me to move on, I can.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Great. Next item, as I just scrolled down to it, is an amendment of a contract. So Mason County Historic Preservation Commission has an annual grant program. One of the grants that was awarded last year was to the Skokomish Grange number 379. They applied for they were awarded $5,000 to repair their floors in the Skokomish Grange Hall. They have kind of reprioritized. The building was red tagged, and the Mason County Building Department on their list did not include repairing the floors, but it did include repairing ceiling tiles. And so they've gotten to the point where they're just on these last items to actually open up the building. So at the last meeting, they presented a quote and a letter stating that they would like to basically change the scope of the contract so that they can repair these ceiling tiles and gain occupancy to the building. The Mason County Historic Preservation Commission was supportive, considering all the materials that were given to them were the same that was needed when originally applying for the grant. This doesn't change the amount approved at all. It's just changing the scope. So I wrote up an amended contract and had that looked over by Tim Whitehead, who approved, and then Nicole Wilston also approved in the last week. And so the Historic Preservation Commission is asking the Board of County Commissioners to approve this change in the scope of a contract for $5,000 to the Skokomish Grange number 379.
Hey, I'm supportive. Commissioner Schutte.
I am supportive as well.
Commissioner Trask.
As am I.
Okay, you got 3, Luke. Anything else for us?
All right, one final one. Thanks for hanging with me. Finally, sorry, just scrolled right past it. All right. So finally, in honor of 4 years of dedicated service from David Daly, former commissioner of the Mason County Historic Preservation Commission, the Historic Preservation Commission would like to ask the Board of County Commissioners to recognize Dave's service with a certificate of service. I last week sent more specific language to Mackenzie to include with the template that you folks have. But in brief, Dave's efforts through application reviews, historic plaque applications, general research into historic properties and resources, the budget discussions, all while navigating mid and post-pandemic meetings, really made a positive impact on preservation in Mason County and on the commission. And for that, we believe he should be recognized. So we're asking that you folks recognize him with one of your certificate of service or whatever you call it, templates that we can give to him.
Commissioner Trask.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Commissioner Schutte.
I agree.
As do I. Boy, you're batting 1,000.
Great. Well, thank you very much for everything this morning. That's all for me.
Okay, do you guys have anything for Luke?
Nothing for me. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, Luke. Have a great day.
Yep, you folks do.
All right, so next up, I have Loretta Swanson.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So first item we have for consideration is a software purchase for our utilities, and Richard can share some information about that.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Yes, we have 2 different software suites that we'd like to purchase, and one of them actually is more of it's an asset management software that our water wastewater manager is completely aware of and familiar with. He's actually used this at the last 2 facilities he's worked with, and he's an active user with it. It will enable him to hold people accountable with the workload. It will also keep track of costs and give us some predictive budgeting tools. It does include an inventory component of it, and that was something that was brought up at the IT steering committee. Is we already have some software that handles inventory, and I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware that that's a very small component of this software suite. The other software suite is more of a data management for us, for all of our laboratory data, anything we produce that we report to Department of Ecology or Department of Health. This will actually take our data, make it mistake proof in reporting, as it will have the built-in templates to follow our DMRs that we submit monthly to Ecology and/or Department of Health. We do have the money available in the budget. One concern would be, what would we do with we have Russellwood Water struggles with money, and this is grant reimbursable. We do have a grant that would cover this, so that portion would be taken care of.
Commissioner Shooty.
Yeah, so we did discuss this at IT steering committee, and I'm a little, I can't recall what the recommendation from the committee was. So if Richard, if you wouldn't mind, if we could table this till next week, and I could get back with TJ on that. I seem to recall that there was some discussion about looking at other options and maybe funding part of this and not the other part, but I feel like I need to confirm before I pass on a recommendation one way or the other.
Is there any time sensitivity, Richard?
Just, we'd like to use this year's funds, that's all.
Okay, you can do that by the next week, right?
Yep.
Commissioner Trask,
Yep, I'm good with tabling it.
same here. All right, what do you got next?
Okay, so that is it in terms of action items, commissioners, and the others are kind of updates and reports. And as you know, we had the Razor Road Community Outreach Meeting to discuss the possibility and level of interest in a road improvement district in that neck of the woods. And I believe Mike is on here. I did not attend, but I know that Dave and Cobry, Commissioner Netherland, you were there, and the meeting was very well attended, I understand. And lots of good dialogue about interest and potential concerns and other suggestions. So, Mike, anything to add or as a summary of what came out of the meeting?
Get on here. No, we just, it was a big turnout, and Dave was estimating over 100 people. And everybody was quite personable. It was a good meeting in that sense. And in the end, they followed up with the homeowners association about going house to house or forming a group to start doing petitions. So it was, and we gave Dave's email, our county email, so we're going to continue communicating with them and help them along.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of calls. Lovejoy, our right-of-way agent, and myself have spoken with a couple of other individuals who are interested in being local champions of an RID and are providing information for them as well. Commissioner Netherland, any other fun things to add since you were there on the on the home turf meeting?
Well, one of the calls I got the next day was telling us how proud they were of us and said it was the only one they'd been to in a while where a fight didn't come out or a law enforcement wasn't called. So we did well putting it together. The for the most part, we just empowered them to move forward, let them know that it's them and it's up to them. They have to do the work to reach out and figure out how to do it. We'll help them every step of the way. That I don't think we have an appetite to take properties and stuff, so they have to do the work and stuff that's involved with making this happen. We gave them directions on how to go about it and who to contact, and I already know that they are moving forward with it. They are going around. We'll find out what happens when it comes back to us after they've done the work that's necessary to get to a next step. Mark, you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, excuse me. I was really impressed with how the public conducted themselves. They were, it's sometimes difficult in a big room to hear everybody, and knowing what I know now, I probably would have tried to coordinate to get some AV equipment available so that people could actually see things and talk over a microphone so that everybody else could hear. But yeah, I was super impressed with how the public conducted themselves and felt like we were able to get through it, informing them what they needed to know and how to move forward.
So what else you got, Loretta?
Russellwood, we met with the Russellwood community yesterday to share ongoing conversations about improvements to the water system, and folks were complimentary of Richard and his team for efforts that have been happening this year. And good feedback on that. Still some things to keep tweaking, as always, you know. And then Stephanie presented financial information related to our metering and going towards the metered rate in January. And hats off to Stephanie for providing very clear, concise information. And that was well received by folks as well. It helped them understood our financial history and our trend and hurdles that we need to overcome to become a self-sufficient utility. And so it was, overall, it was a small group. We were competing with the Seahawks game. So there was that, but really, really good dialogue and good interaction with the community that we very much appreciated. And thank you, Mark, also for spending Sunday out in Russellwood with us.
So Richard, I understand, aside from the one lady in the washing machine, which I don't think is our issue, there was no real complaints of discoloration of water anymore.
No, that's correct. We quit oxidizing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we switched to a well that is not close to the the limits that would be that we'd worry about. We've got it on our main well, and we just add enough bleach to meet the DOH requirements, and yeah.
That's a big deal, Richard. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah,
Because
it took a while to get it out of the system, but getting the reservoir clean was a big deal. That was it was like there was a lot of it in there.
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful. Commissioners, do you have any questions on any of that? Okay. What else you got, Loretta?
Next, commissioners, just to let you know that I am sitting on the TAC for the SR3 Gorst Planning and Environmental Linkages Study. There's a big mouthful. And Commissioner Netherland, you were on the executive committee, and just wanted to check in and see if there are any reports, or it should be a fairly short duration. I think it's about 4 months. Is that right, Commissioner?
Yeah,
That
when you were
we'll be
saying
meeting and.
when you were saying short, I thought you were going to say a short meeting, because it was not that.
No, not a short meeting.
Commissioner
That's for
Sheedy
sure.
attended a good chunk of it, if not half of it or better. Basically, as a regurgitation of all the same stuff that we've always known, checking every box for why we're doing what we're doing, who we're connecting with, what we're expected to connect with in the future, what we're hoping to accomplish. It was a long list.
Yep.
But when it was over with, we're on to the next page. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So just
Commissioners.
wanted to check in and make sure that I'm supporting you as you expect on that.
Yep. Commissioner Sheedy, was there anything you saw or wanted to add?
No, I think pretty straightforward. So we'll see what the outcome of the study is. But like Commissioner Netherland said, nothing really new under the sun there. Just I think checking the boxes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, what else you got?
All right, and then Richard has a very exciting update on the Belfair Water Reclamation Facility, SCADA. The brains are operating.
we have successfully performed brain surgery. We did that last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night we ran the plant on the new brains, and without incident. Everything's been performing great. We only have one issue to work out, and that is the clean in place being in auto mode functioning. That's it. And so that's like a once every 6 month deal. They're working on it right now. We should have that resolved before the end of the day.
Excellent. Any questions, commissioners?
Good
Okay.
news.
Yeah. So what else you got for us, Loretta?
Well, commissioners, we had a couple of emails from folks about striping, And Dave did a really nice job in responding back to the citizens wanting to know about striping. Long story short, we're as Mike puts it, a small fish in a big pool of folks who need striping to happen during the striping season. And we're kind of last to get striped. And so sometimes the season ends and we don't get all accomplished that we wanted to accomplish. We've also seen significant increases in the paint costs and the striping costs themselves. And as you know, commissioners, we requested to purchase a striper next year and be able to take control of our own destiny here. And so for anyone who is out there listening and concerned about striping, we hear that and share that, and we'll be seeking to improve that situation.
So Loretta, we brought this up a year or so ago after reading an article on it. I'm going to bring it up again. I would like for you or somebody to do some research into the iridescent or the glow in the dark lines that they're using in different places to see what the cost differences would be if it's something we could even put into place with the machine that we're buying and so forth.
Yeah, I think we did do some research on that, Commissioner, and it seemed like it was not necessarily a feasible thing and it was very expensive, but definitely we'll dust that back off and bring that back to you.
Yeah, I'd like to actually have it brought to us so I could see what those results are, or at least send me a documentation to what it is.
Sure. Yep.
I had to smile a little, Loretta, because I remember a visit out to the school district, and we were talking with some constituents out there while we were watching the people come pick up their children from school, and we got we had one of our constituents that was talking about the reflectivity of the signs. And that they were so reflective that it felt like he was driving in a ship through Star Wars, and he hated it because they were too reflective and it distracted him from the road. So I think it's interesting how different people look at those
Yes.
things.
Well, and Mark, one of the things we know is people with age, they can't see the lines. You get some rain on this stuff, they can't see it. Harsty Island, I hear about it constantly.
Yeah.
On how bad it is out there. And I don't know how much is our roads and how it blends into the roads or what makes the difference. But there are some roads that are much better than others. So seeing if it's something we could look at, even if it was a small amount that was added to it, I don't know, but I'd like to see what the outcomes are so we can make an educated decision.
Absolutely.
What else you got for us, Loretta?
That is all I believe we have, commissioners.
Commissioner Schutte, you have anything for Loretta?
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Trask?
I don't have anything, just appreciation for everybody that got out there and cleaned up after the storm. We didn't have it as bad as some, but we did have some trees and stuff down. So, big thanks to those that got out there and helped clean up the mess.
And I know you heard it before, but one of my favorite Facebook memes of all time was during the Snowmageddon that never really happened. And it showed a plastic white chair turned upside down, and underneath it, the headline said, "We will rebuild." So, all right. Thank you very much, Loretta.
Yeah, thank you, and happy Turkey Day to everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Civil service application, Becky. Are you here? Oh, there she
I
is.
can get it going here. Sorry, it's a little
That's all right.
delayed. That's why. Well, my video's clicking on and off. There we go. So yes, Civil Service Commission, we have one applicant that has come in. We will be having a vacant position come January 1 because our current commission chairperson, Sue Ickes, her term ends December 31st. So I am bringing forward this application for Eric Goff and ask that you consider him for that position.
Okay. Any questions or comments, commissioners?
So we would interview on this.
I believe so. Commissioner Trask? Yep.
Yeah, I would like to interview before we appoint.
please set up an interview.
Okay, I'll work with McKinsey.
Okay. What do we got next?
Thank you.
Next, we have State Homeland Security Program grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today, I'd like to present the Homeland Security Grant for 2024. We projected the amount to be $16,342, but it came in at $19,580. It is predominantly going to the Sheriff's Department for their communication system, and that will upgrade both in the office and the mobile. And what we're asking is that you approve the grant.
Commissioners, comments?
With me.
Sounds good to me.
As does me. What else you got?
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got Jennifer. She's been working through her new REIT report, so she's really excited to share it with you guys, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, and before we start on that, that grant that you were just briefed on from John, we have in the budget 14,905 in revenue and expense. So this would be an increase of 4,675. Are you okay with me including that in the 2025 budget?
I am.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll make that change. And I also, since we're talking about the budget, I got a request from the sheriff's office to add 100,000. They received 100,000 in donations from OCCU for the DARE program and new reader boards. And so they received that cash, but they're not planning on expending it until next year, 2025. So can I add that amount into beginning fund balance and then into expense?
I'm comfortable. Commissioners, you good with it? Always like adding.
I am as well.
Perfect, thank you.
I'm happy we're adding and not taking.
Great, thank you very much. So on to my briefing item, I have the real estate excise tax report that is required per RCW 8246.015 and 8246.037. If we're using REIT funds for maintenance, and it's supposed to be adopted as part of the budget. So I'm proposing that we add this as attachment B. Attachment A, of course, is the actual budget itself to the resolution. So this would be another attachment to the budget. And just fun fact, I researched all of our comparable counties, and the only one I can find that does this is Lewis County. So either they're not using REIT for maintenance or they're not doing the reports, or I just couldn't find them. So thought that was kind of funny.
I'll bet they're not doing the reports, but I'm good with
And
that.
and just for the SAO, what are those compared? I'm just kidding.
Are you guys comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have this morning.
All right, Mark, what else you got?
After all that time you spent on that report, Jen, you got your presentation done in 5 minutes.
I'm okay with that.
All right, so I'm bringing before the board a suggestion for a revision to the Salary Commission resolution. So our Salary Commission got together back in November 12th of 2024, and as a part of their initial meetings, they were kind of they're looking forward and saying, how do we manage the Salary Commission and ensure that we actually have people that have gone through the process remain on the board and help bring on new members as they're brought in. So there are some limitations to the terms that are defined by state law, and so we tried to figure out how could we stagger this so that we would always have at least half of the commission on. And just to remind the commissioners, this is a 10-member board or salary commission, of which 6 of the members are selected through the lot draw process with the county auditor, and the other 4 are actually appointed by the commissioners. And those 4 appointed members actually are required to have some experience in HR type work, or working with unions or other experience. Had a really effective, super happy with the salary commission this last year. They really got through their stuff well. And as we sat down on November 12th to kind of talk about how are we going to stagger these things in, we identified the fact that with this initial term and how if we were to stagger it just to even years, there would be a point in time in the future that that we would have a whole new board. And so I tried to put together, there's actually a track changes. I've gone over this with both Diane and Tim. So just kind of talking about how we can stagger that initial term to make one of them end in an odd year and the other end in an even year, and how we'd split those up. The commission themselves are going to have to determine who wants to be in Group A or Group B. So in your materials, you should see a spreadsheet, a color-coded spreadsheet. And under our recommended proposal, you can see that that you have a Group A term and you have a Group B term. If we can set it up like this, then each time there's turnover, there will still be half of the commission that is there to bring on the new commissioners and kind of help guide them through the process in that last year of their term.
So Mark, I like all this. The only thing I still have issue with is somehow we did this in a manner where they couldn't set the rates like other counties have on existing positions and percentages. I'd like to, if we're going to change it, I'd like to have that included to where they have the ability to set it at a rate like what we're talking about doing with the prosecuting attorneys, stuff like the deputy prosecuting attorney, and how other counties do with their electeds. This way, it doesn't take as much work all the time either.
So you'd like for them to have the ability to set the increase at a percentage as opposed to a specific number?
Yeah, on the other elected, such as Superior Court judge or whatever that those options are. I'm not saying they should do it, but at least they should have that option where they did not have that option this time. They looked into it, we're told they can't because of something in our verbiage.
So before we get into other changes, can I finish just the changes that we're bringing forward this time? And then I'll definitely listen and document some other changes.
Well, I was asking that it be included with the changes you're bringing forward this time. If you're going to change it once.
100% agree with you, sir. There's one other component to this that isn't really important to our recommendation, and then absolutely can dive into and hear from the other commissioners if you guys would like to kind of open up the opportunity for them to do something other than just setting a specific salary. So the change is that in those initial terms, half of the group would be ending in 26, the other would be ending in 27. And then thereafter, they would go to 2-year terms. The other issue that we came up with is that actually setting the salary. So setting the salary would have to be an annual process. And so they'll have to meet annually to get together in May of the year before it goes into effect. And so that they can actually set the salary by the end of May. And so with that, then if we were able to implement this change, they'd be setting salaries on an annual basis for elected officials. They would have split terms, and the salary commission themselves would have to determine who falls into Group A and who falls into Group B. We don't have any control over that. We're just there to support them. So is there any questions on the changes that I've brought forward to date? And then I'll definitely want to jump into what Commissioner Netherland was recommending.
I'm good with the proposed changes, Mark.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I was a little concerned before when everybody would expire at the same time because, you know.
Yeah, a no-brainer to me as well.
Yeah, okay. And so then as far as setting the salaries, Diane, are you on here and can you help me? And oh, she's just leaving me hanging. Come on, Diane.
I'm here. I can't get my
Hey, it's going to get a lot worse in another month.
I know. Don't remind me.
Well, I recall that it was our legal advice that said we couldn't use a percentage, that it had to be an actual number. And I'm looking at the resolution when the salary commission was established, And I don't see any restrictive language. It just, my recollection is it came from the prosecutor's office.
Okay, then I'll reach out to the prosecutor and find out what he's talking about. Steve Dunkel just sent some kind of note saying that he would look at the RCW as well. So we'll take that at another point then, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, so we can put this resolution, making the changes for today on there, and then we'll look into
Yes. For
another
me.
change. Okay.
Commissioner Trask,
Yeah, that would be fine.
Commissioner Shooty. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, excuse me. I agree with that. That sounds good.
Okay.
I'll talk to Tim and see what we can do, and I'll also reach out to the chair of the salary commission to make sure that they're good with that also. But I do believe that that is something that they wanted to do last year, and by the way we had written the resolution, or the way it was interpreted, we could not. So we had to set the salary specifically, and we couldn't tie it to something else. But if we can change that language to allow them to do that, that would be great.
All right. What else you got?
The other thing that I have for you is a potential memorandum of understanding with the city of Shelton. So come, gosh, mid-January, we're going to start construction on the final phase of the building 10, which is our district court facility. And we're gonna turn the building over to the contractor. So during that time, district court needs a place to operate. Judge Steele has worked with Judge Greer to figure out how they can actually share the municipal court. And I've worked with Tim or actually Patsy has put all this together. She's done all the work, but she worked with both Tim and Nicole to make sure that this memorandum of understanding has all of the necessary language in it that satisfies our legal and risk related concerns.
Questions? Commissioner Shooty.
Yep, that's all good with me.
Commissioner Trask.
Yep, looks good.
As with me.
Great. So we will put this on the agenda for our next regular meeting next week.
Okay. What else you got?
That's it.
We had a discussion, we were expecting a discussion regarding the deputy prosecuting attorney wages percentage by Mary, and that we're going to put together a resolution and get a number to add to the budget. Wasn't that part of today's discussion? Here comes.
We haven't had anything turned in today for that, but absolutely Mary's here. And Mary, are you able to talk to that?
Yes, so I believe the intent of the board is to amend resolution, I think it's 2219. And increase the chief deputy prosecuting attorney wage from 75% of the Superior Court judge to 80% of the Superior Court judge to begin January 1 of 2025. So I'll be bringing that forward in a formal briefing and action item in the next week or two.
Okay. Is everybody comfortable with that? And you're also going to have the number to put in the budget though for us as well, right? Jennifer? I don't see Jennifer. She left us early. She never leaves us early.
No.
There she is. I should have known better.
So I had thought it was at 80%. So that's what I put into 80% of the prosecutor's wages. So that's what I put into the budget for now.
Yes, that 80% would be January 1 of 25. It's currently at 75.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so you already got it. You get it in the budget already. Is that what I just heard?
I thought that's the direction that
It was. Okay. And so you'll have the other one for us next week for our next briefing?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That's all. Go ahead, Mark. I saw you take a breath. Do you need?
Yeah, because you just said something that made me think. So, so our last meeting of the commission to pass anything before 2025 is going to be
December 17th.
December 17th, right?
Yep.
So as far as changing the resolution that sets a salary of our deputy prosecuting attorney, or chief deputy prosecuting attorney, that would come before you on the 17th.
It could, or the third, either one works. It's just, it doesn't go into place till the first of the year.
Okay.
Right. Anything else, Mark?
No.
All right, any commissioner discussions first, and then updates on calendars?
Nothing for me and no updates to my calendar.
Yeah, there's nothing for me, and I don't believe that I have any updates either.
And I think I'm the same, then I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, move we adjourn.
I'll second.
It is a move and second, we adjourned here, no objection, we are adjourned. Have a great day, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Sorry, I wish I remember that without having to be prompted every time. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye.